going on this week. Hope you're excited for the baseball season.
I am. What a day of sports, guys. I don't know what I did to get on twice this week, but I'll take the opportunity. Always a pleasure to spend some time with you guys. And I guess we're going to do it again. Run it back. Hopefully we can sound smart twice in 1 week.
Yeah, this is what you did. Ralph Michaels needed a replacement.
Okay.
Done good. We'll see Ralph back next week. But he needed someone to fill in for him today. So thank you so much, Brian, for coming back twice. You want to start with a first five in MLB on opening day. We're going to go to the south side of Chicago and take a look at the Tigers and the White Sox. First five, I'm seeing Detroit in the minus 160 range, looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen, free live odds screen, which is such a valuable tool in baseball season. I encourage you, if you're not looking at it every day, you should be. But the WagerTalk live odds screen is showing us right now there's been some White Sox money. Minus 155, minus 160 for Detroit. Total 4, juice to the under. How do you want to play first five between the Tigers and the White Sox?
Yeah, so this is less me being bullish on the Tigers, guys, more me selling on the White Sox, who seem primed to have a terrible 2024. I think that's the general consensus. Specifically, I want to sell starter Garrett Crochet. This is his first career big league start. Previously, he's made 72 appearances as a reliever. But you go back over the last 2 seasons, he's only thrown 12 2/3 regular season innings because of Tommy John surgery. It's admittedly a small sample size, but he did not look good in those 12 2/3 innings. Hard hit rate around 44%. FIP around 5.70. Command was an issue. And in his last spring training start, guys, Crochet only made it through 31 pitches. He's facing a Tigers lineup here. Looked good in the spring. Hit a lot of home runs. Drew a lot of walks. I don't think offense is going to be an issue for the Tigers this season, especially when they're facing a weak starter like they are today. And it helps that Tariq Skubal is on the mound for the Tigers. He missed half the season last year, but came on strong in the second half. 2.80 ERA, 0.90 whip over his final 15 starts. White Sox lineup seems pretty dire heading into the year. Just not a lot of names you can trust on a day-in, day-out basis. By the way, 2 starts versus Chicago last year. Skubal went 12 innings. He allowed just 2 runs on 7 hits. He had a good number of strikeouts as well in those 2 outings. I know it's an 162-game season, Teddy. Thus, we've got to be careful about just coming right out of the box and blindly fading a team that we think is going to be bad. But in this case, I just see the White Sox being at a big disadvantage early, and so I will lay the half run with the Tigers in the first 5. I expect them to be in the lead after 5 frames here.
So a half run with Detroit, a first 5 innings. Why not full game? Is the Tigers have any edge when it comes to bullpen? Tigers have any edge when it comes to the latter stages, or is this simply starter versus starter? And it's a clear mismatch in favor of Detroit.
Yeah, for me, it is all about the starting pitching matchup. I mean, you could lay 1.5, but I just would feel more comfortable here only having to lay the half run over the first 5 innings. Again, you look at these 2 starting pitchers, I think it's a substantial edge for the road team in this one, and I think it's the best value looking at this matchup, quite frankly.
Yeah, and Brian, the White Sox, have been a perennial underachiever the past couple seasons in which people thought they had talent and a chance to win the division. Now they look like a weaker team on top of that. You just really have to wonder. Last year, by the way, they were minus 30 units against the money line in the 2023 season, and that followed a season in which they went 81 and 81 the year before, but we're still down over 8.5 units. So looks like it's a downward slope. We talked about the Orioles yesterday and how I say that's a team on the rise. My Baltimore Orioles, the hat's back behind me, as I told Teddy yesterday, because, this is a team that was a bottom feeder. Minor league system was great last year, AAA champs, best spring training record. We do see this in baseball where teams kind of go through these ebb and flows, and go back and look at the Houston Astros 10, 12 years ago, worst team in baseball, and then they turned it around for a decade. You got to wonder if the Orioles might be that team and if the White Sox are heading the opposite direction. All right, that's Brian Power talking some baseball. It is opening day. By the way, every baseball play is half off instantly. 50% discount this Thursday only right now at WagerTalk.com. Every baseball best bet up until midnight tonight. Instant half price, no promo code needed. So it's a great way to try out opening day and do it this afternoon because there's some big basketball games tonight. And Brian, let's get to the Sweet 16. The first of 8 games go at 7:09 Eastern tonight. And we will be breaking them down all day long. The college basketball tip-off show, by the way, will be on live at 2 o'clock Eastern here. I will be on with Joe Ranieri and company breaking down some games. And we take the live chat from Instagram, YouTube Reels, YouTube Shorts, YouTube feeds, whatever else they got going on YouTube. We got it covered for you. But I want to talk about a game on Friday, Brian, with you, since we might not see you until Friday. Tennessee, Creighton, two really good teams, two of the top 10, 12 teams in the country. Tennessee a slight favorite over Creighton. What are you doing with this one on Friday?
Yeah, if you guys recall, earlier in the week when I was on, I did break down North Carolina, Alabama. That complete breakdown is still available on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. You can check that out. It's still up there. All right, but let's talk about tomorrow, because I really like this game between Tennessee and Creighton. Defensively, we know what Creighton likes to do, guys. They take away shots at the rim and take away shots from behind the arc. Solid approach to the modern game. And to beat them, you need someone who's going to be able to come in and hit mid-range jumpers. Well, Tennessee happens to have Dalton Connect. And I know that Connect, Teddy, had an off night versus Texas. As a matter of fact, the entire Tennessee team had an off shooting night in that game. Connect was 5 for 18 from the floor, including 1 for 8 from 3. As a team, the Vols shot 3 of 25 from behind the arc. But since we're still talking about them, they obviously won. They survived and advanced. And I actually view the poor shooting from the last game as a bit of a positive going into the Sweet 16, because I think naturally you would expect some positive regression from Tennessee. I just don't see any way where Connect doesn't have a bounce back game and the rest of the team doesn't have a bounce back game from 3. Now you look at what Creighton likes to do offensively. They live and die by the 3, and the first 2 games they have enjoyed tremendous 3-point variance, shooting 48% themselves while the opposition's around 28%. And I think we have to mention what Creighton did in their last game, how lucky they were to get by Oregon down 4 in the final minute. They wind up winning by 13 in double overtime. A fraudulent result, in my view, one that we can take advantage of here. I want to lay the short number with what I feel is a superior Tennessee team. Tennessee, number 3 in the country in adjusted defensive efficiency, guys, per KenPom. They've allowed just 107 total points in 2 tourney games. I know one of those was against offensively challenged St. Peter's, but I think the regression gods smile on Tennessee in this one. I see them advancing to the Elite 8. I would lay it tomorrow night against Creighton.
So my follow-up question is 2 words. Well, I guess it's 4 words. Rick Barnes in March.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about a track record, okay, Rick Barnes was at Texas for 17 years. They made 16 tournaments. They didn't make a Final Four. Okay. He's never made a Final Four, right? I don't think.
Correct. Correct.
I know that his teams have consistently, habitually flamed out earlier than expected in NCAA tournaments. Year after year, in spot after spot. What makes this year different? Because Rick Barnes does not have the coaching edge in this game.
No, I did, and I did not conveniently omit that from my analysis. I just figured it was going to be the follow-up, and we would touch on it in this part of the discussion. So you're right; it is a red flag. Say you can't. I can't just look here in the camera and say, "Well, this is going to be the year," right? How do I know? The thing I'll say with this: Creighton does not have exactly have a great pedigree either at this level. If this was a situation where Tennessee was facing a team that consistently stepped up, overachieved, won big games, I would be a little more leery. But I don't see that with Creighton. And a lot of it for me, Teddy, is just looking at the full body of work over this year and looking at what I saw in the last 2 games from these teams. I just do not think Creighton is going to be able to maintain that positive 3-point variance I talked about. Okay. And I just think that Tennessee, compared to their last game, they've got Dalton Connect, one of the best players in the country. I think he's bouncing back. That's not Rick Barnes related, that stuff. I think he can just stand on the sideline, stand out of the way. Tennessee makes their shots. Creighton makes a few less than we've seen the last 2 games. Tennessee advances. Go Vols.
Should be a great game on Friday, Tennessee and Creighton. I think the X factor, as with all these games, is 3-point shooting, obviously, but Tennessee allows a high percentage of shots from beyond the arc. In fact, they're 309th in the country out of 362 as far as percentage allowed from three-point range. So it's going to come down to if Creighton can hit those outside shots, as it often does in these one-and-done scenarios on Friday. Brian mentioned that he has the Alabama-UNC preview from earlier this week on Monday's edition. Also, that is clipped as a solo video here on WagerTalk TV. Don't forget college basketball tip-off show at 2 o'clock Eastern live here. So hit subscribe and hit the bell as well so you never miss content when it's available here on WagerTalk TV. Brian, Power 30 or Power 100, Power 30, correct? It's a great promo code. It sounds like a sports energy drink. Tell us about it.
Yes, Power 30. What that will do? No, it will. Well, I don't know. Maybe it gets you caffeinated, but it will save you $100 off a 30-day all-access pass. That is all sports for the next 30 days. Rest of the NCAA tournament, rest of the NBA regular season, first month of MLB. We had a great start last year in MLB, 34-16 run the first month. Any soccer, I release as well. You also, of course, see on the screen right there, 50% off opening day selections site-wide at WagerTalk. I do have one play going in the daytime in Major League Baseball. I have a 2-for-1 currently available at my page, Sweet 16. My top play for tonight, my top play for tomorrow. Bundled those together, but one more time, that coupon code is Power30. That will save you $100 off the cost of a 30-day all-access pass every winter for the next 30 days. WT.buzz/BP.
That is a tasty Power 30 code. It gets you $100 off a 30-day all-access from Brian Power. Once again, Power 30. Use that at checkout on a 30-day all-access. Teddy, forgot to mention also, I did a Sweet 16 Thursday Fade the Public edition late last night. It was posted early this morning. It is available right now here on WagerTalk TV, so check that out after the show. And I will also be back tomorrow, not only hosting with you here, but a Friday edition for the Sweet 16 games. I'm also going to do one for Saturday and Sunday's Elite Eight. So a ton of college basketball content. And something I failed to mention all week here in the show, and I even forgot until the end of the video, was that I have a free Sweet 16 contest that's posted right now on the deals page on WagerTalk. If you pick 11 or more right out of the 16 sides and totals, you win free best bets from myself, Steve Merrill. Go to the deals page right now on wagertalk.com, the top tab there, and you can enter for free. But you got to do it before the first game starts tonight on Thursday. All right, that's some college basketball. That's some MLB talk. We'll have some more MLB talk in a moment with Drew Martin. Also a little UFC coming up. Teddy's also got some MLB big game breakdown. But let's talk NFL. You know, Teddy, I joked at the top, the NFL always finds a way to sneak in, right? They don't want to be left on the sidelines. No pun intended. Lots of hoops, lots of baseball, but the NFL is worth talking about today as well.
Sure. I mean, I was going to talk about MLB opening day, but it's what bettors learned. And frankly, I'll save that for tomorrow, even though we will talk about the grind of what the MLB season is going to be. Been talking Sweet 16 all week, and virgin numbers are exciting to me. We've got virgin numbers from DraftKings for NFL season wins. And look, let me make this very clear. I'm not making NFL bets yet. All right. We know the opponents every team is going to face, but the actual schedule is not posted yet. And that matters. To me, it matters a lot. You know, do you face an easy first half? Do you face a brutal stretch? All that stuff comes into the nuance, but they're worth paying attention to. We talk about these opening numbers because we're setting the market, or DK essentially set the market. When you think about Daniel Kahneman's book, he passed away yesterday, Thinking Fast and Slow, the importance of setting the market, of anchoring your thoughts to various numbers that we're going to see. That's why these lines are so important. All the other lines come out, not necessarily going to be in reaction to these, but they'll take these numbers into consideration. So I'm just going to run through them from the top. I'll start with the lowest and move to the highest. Two teams lined at 4.5 wins, the Carolina Panthers and the New England Patriots. At 5.5 wins, we have the Denver Broncos and the Tennessee Titans, both of them juiced to the under. At 6.5 wins, the Raiders, Vikings, Cardinals, and Giants. Giants, the only one of those that has juice to the over 6.5. At 7.5 wins, the Saints, Seahawks, and Commanders. Washington, 2, juice to the over 7.5. At 8.5, we're looking at the Chargers, Bears, Jaguars, Rams, Steelers, Buccaneers, Browns, and Colts. All those teams lined in the 500 range are expected to be near 500 next year. Any of those teams are going to be playoff teams. You can make money betting them over. Again, Chargers, Bears, Jaguars, Rams, Steelers, Bucks, Browns, and Colts, all at 8.5. Now we talk about the teams lined as winning teams. Houston lined 9.5. The Jets lined 9.5, juice to the over. The Bills lined 10.5, juice to the under. Bengals 10.5. Lions 10.5. Packers. This is a disappointing one for me. 10.5, juice to the over. I didn't think we'd see Green Bay quite that high. Miami's going to take under money. Right now, they're 10.5, juice to the over. I can tell you right now that number's too high. We're going to see under money for the Dolphins. Eagles, 10.5, juice to the under. Falcons, 10.5, juice to the under, which says something about their strength of schedule this year. Dallas, also at 10.5. 3 teams lined at 11.5 wins. Again, these are just the DK openers. One book, opening numbers. But 3 teams lined 11.5. Note that DK's got everything on the hook. So they're not going to, there's not going to be no pushes against these numbers. That's why there's as much juice as there is. But the 3 teams at 11.5, you know who they are already. The Chiefs, the 49ers, the Ravens. Once again, expected to be the class of the National Football League in 2024. Virgin numbers. I thought we'd talk about them. That's what I learned last night. Back to you, Mr. Merrill.
Yeah, Teddy, I was going to ask you a couple of things, and you kind of answered it with one of your statements. I was going to say, first of all, what would be a reason to play these before the other market numbers come out? And I think it's if you obviously think a number is going to be different than what the market is. And also, I was going to ask you if you had any early takes on these, and it sounded like the Dolphins under checks both those boxes.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not betting any of these yet, and I'm not going to do anything until after the draft. After the draft, you get a real assessment of what a team's going to look like. But gut reaction, Dolphins 10.5 too high. That was, a pure gut. No fact to that. But Miami lost a lot in free agency. I don't know if there's a team in the league lost more than the Dolphins did when it came to free agent departures.
Yeah, and I always look for the regression or a team that really, like last year was the Giants. I think we all kind of agreed on that. The Giants were, a phony, really good team from 2 years ago. I don't want to say the Texans were a phony team, but boy, 9.5 after – what was their total sitting at last year? Do you recall? Was it like 4.5, 5? Because, they were the second worst team in the league the year before.
They were 5, maybe 6, 5.5, 6 last year. Texans, I'll put it this way. There's no way I'm betting Texans under. For me, it's over or pass. There was nothing fraudulent
even
about
at 9.5
last year. And the Texans are, on paper, they look very, very good.
Yeah, they do remind me of the Lions. And the Lions continue to crush for several years now against the spread. And I had them over, was it 9.5 on the show here last year. I gave that as a free play. We always talked about how public it was, but kind of like that Dodgers over that you and I both like this year, sometimes it's not public enough. And I do get a feeling the Texans are kind of like that team offensively, like the Lions. They play on a fast track, good quarterback, at least from what we've seen. Real quick on the way out there, the 2 lowest, as Teddy said, once again, were the Panthers and Patriots at 4.5. Look, Panthers were god-awful last year, but to see New England, even with the new coach, at 4.5, boy, have times changed. Is it too low, or are they going to be really that bad? Your initial thought on New England?
So let me start with this. I don't care what the public likes, what the public doesn't like. The public has no impact on season win total markets, So I'm not worried at all if this is a public team or that's a public team. It's irrelevant. New England is priced appropriately. I'll just leave it at that. That's a complete rebuild job for a first-time NFL head coach with an organization that used to be great and hasn't been great of late. Yeah, Patriots' power rating coming into the season is going to be amongst the bottom feeders, and their strength of schedule, brutal once again for the AFC East.
Exactly. I was going to say, and the division is very difficult, something you have to factor in. And once again, the 4 worst teams, according to DraftKings, the only 4 teams less than 6 wins, Panthers, Patriots, but also Broncos and Titans, a couple other currently, recently big-name teams. So it shows how the NFL has changed here in recent years with the Texans, Lions, other teams around the 9-10 win mark. All right, little advanced look at the NFL. Once again, DraftKings is the only book out right now with season win totals, and we'll continue to monitor that market over the next couple months.
There are other places that have them in the global community that also have just come out. So DraftKings is not the only one. That said, these are virgin numbers, and these lines certainly aren't widely available yet. But if you shop around, you can find alternative virgin numbers. The markets will come together, but it takes a while for this market to come together. You do find variance from book to book, oftentimes all summer long.
And real quick for people out there, how much is one win worth juice wise? Like what I'm saying is, if you can middle a game, if you can middle 9.5 and 10.5, like how much juice are you willing to pay on each end of that?
So I'm not looking to middle these. It's too much, there's too much risk for not enough reward. In terms of you're locking up your money. If you're betting under 10.5 and over 9.5, you're locking up a whole bunch of money for a long time. And the only way you get paid is if it lands exactly 10. In my mind, it's not your best use of resources. That said, the standard rule of thumb has been a half a win equates to about 50 cents worth of juice. So an over 10 even money is a moral equivalent of an over 9.5 minus 150.
Right. So pretty substantial. So you could almost pay 100-cent juice if you had a 1-point middle there. Something to keep in mind if you are looking to scalp these virgin numbers in the futures market. All right, a little NFL, a little college basketball, a little MLB. Let's get back to MLB, though, on opening day. And once again, all baseball best bets 50% off instantly today and today only right now at WagerTalk.com. And another guy you can find there is Drew Martin. And Drew, before we get to a season win play, want to look at an underdog. I know you're an underdog type of guy when it comes to baseball, and you do a great job with it. What is a live dog here on the opening day card for Thursday?
Well, thanks for that, Steve. Appreciate it. And nothing quite like opening day. I almost feel like we're rolling out the dice there, and might as well put some plus price in your pocket. Actually, what I like here, Steve, is a nightcap. Heading out to the Pacific Northwest, Bayo, plus 143 with the Red Sox, 7.5 being the total. I bring up Bayo. That's the starting pitcher's last name. He's up against Luis Castillo. Big name in himself. But what I'm going after here, Steve, is we get this low total with a heavy favorite. The M's are minus 160 as the favorite. And look at Bayo last year against the same Seattle lineup. He did go 2-0. And last time pitching in Safeco, he had 7 strikeouts and 6 innings pitched. And on the other side of things, Luis Castillo, you might remember, guys, his first 22 starts last year, he was excellent. He was lights out. But he did, in one of those starts in his first 22, give up 5 earned runs. And that start was against this Boston Red Sox lineup. He actually got lit up in that game, guys. He gave up 3 home runs, only lasting 5 innings. So we're going to kind of take that angle here. Lots up in the air with opening day, a great day in itself. But going to put the plus price, plus 143 in my pocket. If you're new to betting baseball, that's risking $100. And if the Red Sox win here, you get 143 on the kickback. So that's what I'm going with opening day there, Steve.
Is this a first 5 scenario where you split your wager, first 5 full game, or do the Red Sox have any edges when it comes to the latter stages as well? Is Boston got a good bullpen? Is Boston bet on in a tight game in latter stages, even at a plus price? Or is this a scenario where the biggest edge is first 5, and maybe that's the way some bettors should look?
It's an interesting question, Teddy. Normally, I would, have a bunch to come back with you with in terms of, which bullpen, because I like to do bullpen rankings, and then also what arms in the bullpen for those later innings are active. But it's opening day, so both squads got their top arms coming in on it. And to tell you the truth, early in the season, I think ranking bullpens is very difficult. It's just one of those things where, I don't think, and you could go out there and read a bunch and what these teams have done the last, couple years, and you might get something out of it, Teddy. But I've noticed that these kind of preseason bullpen rankings are just not very good. So I like to kind of wait at least a couple games, more likely a week, and then see how these bullpens are really faring and go from that point forward. So I guess just to answer your question, I'm going full game, mainly because you get a bigger plus price. It's one of the best things about betting baseball, TC, and you know this. It's half off when you bet a full game, whereas when you go first 5, it's back to the minus 110 market. So I guess you could get Boston plus 130. It correlates with the first 5, but I'd rather put that extra little juice in our pocket and go full game. It's a little bit more of a gamble, I'll give you that, but I'm going full game with it.
It's Drew Martin talking a little MLB baseball on opening day and night, and he has one of his many underdogs that he'll have this season. And once again, you can get all the baseball best bets, including Drew's, for half off, 50% off today and today only at WagerTalk.com. All right, Drew, that's a play for tonight, but we can still get our future bets in here before first pitch this afternoon. And since we do not have any Canadians today, the Prez is out this week. We had Carmine, we had Andrew on talking hockey earlier this week. We got to talk about the Toronto Blue Jays. Prez's Toronto Blue Jays. Play or nay, yay or nay on the Blue Jays, over or under season wins around 86.5 this season?
I like them to the over, Steve. I really do. And guys, you got about until 4:10 Eastern here, and it's 4:10 because it's an AL East matchup, the Blue Jays and the Rays, Berrios and Eflin, for what that's worth. But really, it's a 162-game season here. I think the Jays, Steve, are going to get up and over the 86.5 wins as their total. They had 89 wins last year, guys. They've actually had 89 or more wins 3 years in a row. So they've been playing good baseball overall. They're adding Justin Turner here to an already top 10 lineup when you go by weighted runs created plus, which is my favorite metric, but really by most of the advanced metrics, a top 10 lineup in baseball. And when you look at their starting pitching, their rotation, Gausman, Berrios, Bassitt, Kikuchi, they do have depth there. Even with a couple injuries coming in, I think that it's a good bullpen as well. And last thing I'll bring up here, guys, is the balanced scheduling. And I know we're in year 2 of it, but in year 1, it was a big plus for this Jays lineup. You know, they're not playing the Yankees, the Orioles 18, 19 times. You know, it's down to 12 times per year here, guys. And so they get more matchups up against the Central teams. It's a little bit easier of a schedule. I think that kind of angle to the handicap, betting East Division teams over, Central Division teams leaning towards the under, I think that angle in baseball, the long season still has some legs. So putting that in our pockets as well. I think the Jays north of the border, kind of a tough trip there for some teams. I think they're going to get up and over 86.5, Steve. I think they get into the 90 win range. And actually, it correlates again here, plus 450, risk 100 to win 450 for the Jays to kind of surprise a lot out there and win the AL East.
How come you think they're priced as low as they are? You know, as an 86.5 win team coming in, what are you seeing that the markets aren't seeing on Toronto, or what are they mispricing for this team?
I guess I would go with, you know, AL East. You know, there's only so many wins that can be out there. It's a difficult, maybe the most difficult division, Teddy. And I think there's almost kind of a misconception going back to the balanced scheduling, where I don't think that's fully factored into the marketplace. That would kind of be where I would go mostly. And also because I think they underperformed a little bit their lineup last year. Some guys didn't perform like a lot of people thought they would going into the season. So maybe those two things. And also they haven't fared very well in the playoffs. So in those really critical games with a lot of people watching, the Jays have kind of, you know, laid an egg a little bit, and maybe that's a carryover. So those are just some things I would throw out there, TC.
I mean, very tough division last year. If you recall, 4 teams with winning records. Red Sox are just 6 games below 500. Blue Jays still finished 89 wins last year, despite that extremely difficult division. They were actually down 3.5 units against the money line, even with 89 wins, 16 games above 500. That's Drew Martin talking some baseball. And Drew, you've also got a great 30-day promo code with an instant $100 discount, DM30. Tell us about it.
Sure, Steve. Yeah, it looks like all access for 30 days. Guys can take $100 off with DM30 as the code. And yeah, MLB season's starting today. So it's a good time to jump on. You can check out the full season as well for a big discount. And we got Sweet 16 action this weekend. Elite 8 as well. Final 4 still on deck. So good time to jump on, guys. DM30 hot right now, 67% over the last month. So that's winning percentage. Now, as we're getting into baseball season, it's likely not going to be 67%. But if you know the MLB betting market, Steve was touching on a little bit, it's about getting that plus price, guys, or at least not laying too much juice in losing. So pay attention to the ROI coming in here, and hopefully have another good MLB season. So yeah, Drew Martin, WagerTalk.com, coupon code DM30 takes $100 off 30-day all access. So thanks for having me, guys. Happy opening day.
You too, Drew, and it's always great to see Drew Martin. Once again, he loves underdogs in baseball. He also does the college basketball tournament, so that 30-day all access gets both for the next month. All right, Teddy, lots of baseball today on opening day. Once again, everything is half price instantly. Today and today only, 50% discount on all best bets from every capper at WagerTalk.com. Check that out right now. And Teddy, what are your general thoughts on baseball? How do you approach the season?
Well, I'm going to give you my short list. And I'll tell you what's going on when it comes to MLB. And, of course, all baseball plays half off on opening day. And I'll tell you guys, I'm running real good right now. 12-3, 80% with my last 15 releases over the past 6 days, 26-9 all sports run over the last couple of weeks. The NCAA League tournament's been good, real good. 86% run in the big dance. The NBA's on fire right now again. And we'll see if we can get baseball off to a good start. I do have a 5% big ticket report on tap for the Sweet 16 on Friday night. But when it comes to MLB for today, I'll tell you all the stuff I threw out. I only played one game today for the clients, and that's the way it's likely to be for me, at least for the first week, 10 days, even 2 weeks into the season. I'm not a guy that comes out guns a-blazing for baseball. I want to see what happens in a lot of guys' first starts and a lot of teams' first series and get a feel for what they're capable of accomplishing. So I'll give you all the stuff I threw out. I was looking at Washington today at the plus price against Cincinnati. Montas is not a guy that I trust to lay a price. And then I decided Washington's not a team I want my money on at this stage of the campaign. I considered the Dodgers at the big favorites price. The Dodgers and the Orioles both. And I decided opening day, even run line plays, I'm just not laying the big juice on opening day. Seattle, another team that fell into that category. I think KC's live as a dog today. I came close to playing KC. I didn't want to step in front of Lopez on opening day. He was real good last year, real good against this lineup. Detroit's a team we've talked about here on Wager Talk today as a potential bet on squad. And they're another team in the favorites role that I'm just not comfortable laying that big of a price on opening day. I just posted up a free play over at WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com recommending a play on the Oakland A's at the plus price against Cleveland. Bieber came out and pitched great last year on opening day, and the Guardians got shut out and still lost. And Oakland last year, he only gave up 3 hits in 6 innings, and he gave up 3 runs, and the Guardians lost that game too. I think Oakland's live at the plus price on opening day. Enjoy baseball today, and then enjoy Sweet 16 tonight. We'll be back to talk about it tomorrow. Steve?
Look at that homer pick on your future Las Vegas A's, perhaps. We'll see. Saw on the news, by the way, I saw everyone rushing to get married at the Tropicana. Has that officially closed? Are they going to demolish it? What's going on with that, Teddy?
Yeah, the Trop's supposed to close. I forget if it's this week or next week, but the Trop's closing soon, in theory. But the A's coming to Vegas is not a done deal.
Correct.
Okay. It's not close to being a done deal. All right. The Trop getting imploded to build a stadium there. That's not a done deal. None of this is a done deal yet. So there drama still looms for Oakland as the season progresses. But opening day, I think they're live dogs.
Yeah, that Oakland team just seems to find a way to stay in that stadium from the 70s and draw 200 people a game. It's really remarkable. We'll see what happens. But all seriousness, last year we talked about how they really were kind of a fade when all that news was coming out. So it is a little bit of a handicapping factor probably at some point this season.
And look, your chances of getting a foul ball, nowhere better than Oakland. So if you want to get a souvenir for game, that's the game to go.
That is a definite good point, and probably get a pretty good cheap ticket as well. So it's a good economic move if you want a foul ball to go to Oakland A's games this year, to say the least. It's actually worth more than the ticket probably. That's baseball for you, though. And once again, we'll be here every day the rest of the summer talking MLB on a daily basis. Also, by the way, the MLB First Pitch show debuted yesterday on Wednesday. Also is available right now for Thursday on Wager Talk TV, and we'll be back tomorrow on Friday as well. So check out the MLB First Pitch every afternoon here for the rest of the season on Wager Talk TV. Another reason to hit subscribe and hit the bell as well, so you never miss any of the great content for free. Hey, by the way, if you're enjoying it, thumbs up, like, please. It goes a long way to keeping it free. And also comment below. We read all the comments. We reply back. Teddy said 2 thumbs up. If you can figure out a way to hack the algorithm on YouTube and give us a double thumbs up, that's even more appreciated. All right, we talked some college hoops. We talked baseball. Let's finish it off with some UFC talk. It's Easter weekend, but the UFC don't care. They're going Saturday night, March 30th, and that's Kyle Anthony, UFC expert. And Kyle, I want to get right to the main event because it stood out to me. First of all, it's a chick fight. Can't say that anymore. They get very upset when you say chick fight. But all seriousness, what did jump out to me was 11-1 versus 12-1. I mean, for a main event, not too big records there. So tell us a little bit about this main event and who you might like.
Yeah, this is a good one here. The winner of this will probably fight for the title. So a lot of implications when you're looking at this fight here. It's in Atlantic City. I will be there. So excited about that as well. But when you're looking at this price here, you got Erin Blanchfield. She's around minus 190 on the comeback here. You have Manon Fior around the plus 150 mark. Now, you've got Blanchfield here, young, 24 years old, really a rising talent in the division, as well as a really fantastic grappler. And Manon on the other side here, really good striking, power, range, and that's really how this is going to play out, really a grappler versus striker type of matchup here. How is she going to get the takedowns? Is she going to be able to keep the distance? That's going to be the back and forth. But when you're looking at this on paper, Manon has a 91% takedown defense rate. Very high, but it's also very misleading. She has not faced anybody of the caliber of wrestling, of all of that you're going to have Blanchfield have. She's going to cut distance. She's going to look to push forward. And those things she's going to have to deal with. Now, the only person that she's actually kind of faced that is this kind of prototype was Tabitha Ritchie, which was a fight that, Tabitha came up on short notice, up a weight class, and she was just really outmatched, bullied around, and she lost that fight. And really even the other fighters that she faced were not really takedown artists. Maybe they've got good ground game, but no one with the takedown ability that Blanchfield is going to bring. And really the way that Blanchfield can find success is really heavy pressure and just a heavy wrestling pace. And that could smother the offense of Manon, really keep her up against the fence, slow this fight down a little bit, hold her down, keep her down. And I think that's really going to be the way you're going to see Blanchfield really taking this fight on, pushing forward, looking for opportunities. And that is really either going to bank round or find the finish. She averages around 3 takedowns per 15 minutes, and it's going to be difficult. There's no doubt about it. Cutting the distance, really what Manon brings, big power. And, Blanchfield's very durable. So if she takes these early shots, which I do believe early in this fight, it's going to be Manon really having a lot of success and really kind of peppering her with big shots. And, if this plays out on the feet, which I do expect a decent amount of this to really play out on the feet, she's going to have the big advantage, the better combinations, working at the range, and really you're going to see Blanchfield looking for those takedowns. Now, I do think that it's going to be early Manon really having success. And as this fight goes on, we do see that Erin has really good cardio, really good pace. And I think she starts to bank rounds. It may not be, a really sexy way to end this fight, but I think it's going to be a little bit more wet blanket and kind of keeping her down. So getting off the big number here on Blanchfield, which is around the minus 190, I like her via points, which is plus 220. I think it's a good price. I think she kind of stays pace with it, and I like her in this spot. So I think she drags us out for 25 minutes and gets the job done at plus 220.
Yeah, and a fight where the over-under is 4.5 rounds, it makes sense to look at the favorite via decision. So Blanchfield via points at the nice plus price, says Kyle Anthony. Kyle, of course, he's up 32 units in MMA this year already. He's profited his last 9 UFC events in a row. And return on investment, how about better than 23% so far this year? Kyle Anthony has flat out delivered the goods with his MMA selections. Let's talk about one on the undercard. Reese McKee, Chidi let me get this. No Jaquani. Yeah, all right, I'll get there.
You're not Prez, so you're not.
We'll get there. It looks to me like all the money's coming for the dog here. I see the openers minus 200, minus 220 on Nakajuani. Now he's down to minus 140. Total 1.5 rounds juice to the under. What do we do in this one?
Yeah, so these are two fighters here that both of them are actually on an 0-3 run in the UFC. And you look at Chidi Njokuani, this guy, really has the goods. He's big, he's long, he's powerful. He came into the UFC going out there and getting 3 straight knockout victories, one of them on Dana White's Contender Series. But really, since then, he has looked terrible. He has not looked good overall. Yes, both of these guys are 0-3 run, but shitty, this 0-3 run, he got knocked out twice. He lost to Gregor Rodriguez, Mikhail Olajaychuk, and Albert Duraev. Very, very bad looks overall. And to your point, Teddy, I agree with this line movement here because there are a lot of red flags that are on Njokuani in this spot. And really the first one is his terrible, terrible cardio. The guy just does not keep a pace. If things don't go well in that first few minutes, round, he really starts to backpedal. He doesn't push a high pace. He starts to overthink things. And we've even seen in the fight against, Owen Jacek, he has a lot of success early. And if he can't put the guy away or really, hammer it away, he's a great hammer, a terrible nail. And if he can't do that, he starts to backpedal. He starts to overthink things. And it really questions his heart. It really questions his motivation. And you add in the fact that his cardio's bad. You add in the fact that he looks for the door anytime the fight gets, tough. And also now you add in the fact that he is moving down in weight, which is a terrible move for him overall, especially with a guy that is, on an 0-3 run, does not look good. You also add the fact that Chitty has said in multiple interviews in the past, he will never go down in weight. It ruined his body. He didn't feel good about it, all of those things. And now he's 35 years old. I just think this all adds up to very bad things for him. I don't like it at all. And now you look at the McKee side where, yes, he went on an 0-3 run as well, lost to, Chimaev, can't blame him there, Alex Morono and Ange Lusa. Now, the way that these guys really got the victory was takedowns, was looking for takedowns. Out of those 3 fights, he was taken down 10 times. That is not Chitty's game. Chitty is not a guy that's going to level down, get takedowns, get control time. He either is going to look to really get that early, opportunity to get the knockout. If he doesn't, I think McKee at a high clip finds the second round and finds the third round, whether he banks those rounds or finds the finish, the way that Chitty is kind of looking for the door. I think he weathers that early storm. I agree with the line movement. I think that even at plus 122, I still like the price here. I love the plus money. So I do like McKee to get the job done here and come away with the victory.
Kyle Anthony says, follow the sharp money. The sharp money clearly on the dog in this UFC fight night in Atlantic City on Saturday. Kyle, you're running good, my friend. What do you have going this weekend?
Yeah, so I'll be there live. I'll be there to watch the number 10 in a row cash here. We've got a 5% up right now. Both plays are at plus money. Going to be adding a couple more positions as we get a little bit closer, as I'm kind of doing my research there. But I'm feeling good about it. Check it out, WagerTalk.com, and let's get number 10 done.
Yeah, Kyle's an excellent example of diversifying your portfolio. We're all talking MLB opening day, Sweet 16. Kyle will be in person in Atlantic City watching the fights that he handicaps on a daily basis and does quite well making money. So if you want to diversify and get some UFC best bets, check out Kyle Anthony, WagerTalk.com. And once again, if you want any baseball best bet today, opening day and night, every play instantly half price. I've got a late night game tonight on Thursday. So if you're watching the replay here, you haven't missed my best bet. Also, a late afternoon free play. Don't forget about the free plays. I've got a free baseball play on my page as well, and also a strong NCAA Sweet 16 best bet tonight on Thursday. So a great time to check out my page, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And don't forget, my Fade the Public video analysis of all 4 Thursday Sweet 16 games is available right now here on WagerTalk TV. I'll be back tomorrow on Friday with an additional one. And also don't forget to enter that free contest. Go to the Deals tab on WagerTalk's homepage, and you can enter my Sweet 16 contest for free. Went up to a full year, a $2,000 value of my personal best bets for free. But you got to enter today. That contest goes off at first tip tonight. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And I'll be back with you tomorrow, Teddy, one more time before the Prez returns. I know you've got some strong best bets tonight as well on Thursday. Let us know about it. Take us home. Yeah, it's going to happen. I mean, at least he says it's happening. We'll find out.
Yeah, we can always hope. We can always dream the impossible dream. But that's going to wrap.
He likes to vacate. He might stay longer.
Yeah,
you never know.
That's true. Let's see if we can fight some unbeatable foes. That's going to wrap it for the Thursday edition of Wager Talk today. As Steve mentioned, all MLB selections half off on opening day. Tons of great packages, tons of great promotions. I got a 5% up. Steve's got a ton of stuff up. Check it out. WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same channel. Between now and then, enjoy the games and best of luck with all your wagers.